What up, y'all? Welcome to the YouTube channel, Real Advantage Productions. I go by Paz B. Two great things about me: I'm a cool guy, number one. Number two, I stand by what I say. I try to do what I say I'm going to do. Dependable. I'm a dependable dude. That's number two. Like I said, I'm Paz B. This is Real Advantage Productions. And I got something I want to talk to y'all about today. Let's get into it.
I want to talk about this DC shooting with the National Guard. Two National Guard members got shot, said they were headshots. One girl has died. One National Guard soldier is dead. Other one is critically wounded. They said it was done by a Afghan person from Afghanistan, came to this country as an ally, was granted asylum this year in 2025, but he's been in the country for a couple of years. I hear this guy is married, has, I think he said 5 children. All the children are Americans. His wife is an American. So it looked like he's integrated well into the country. And he's over here because he was helping our fight against the Taliban in Afghanistan. So he was working with the CIA. Anyway, what he did was a horrible, gruesome, and just evil, just an evil thing that he did. He shot 2 of our National Guard. By the way, I was in the National Guard. I did 3 years in National Guard. I did 5.5 years active duty Army. So I was a soldier. As a matter of fact, I can relate because I was on the streets of DC. I was on the streets of DC doing National Guard work during the first Trump inauguration. I was there for inauguration when Trump got in office the first time. So I was there on the subways and walking the streets of DC. What I want to talk about with this video is the response from the president, response from the White House. I think the response is a little heavy-handed. I hear a lot of talk about making it harder for the Afghans that are already in the country, the people who are already in the country. We want to re-vet them. We're talking about sending them back to Afghanistan. As I said, I was an active duty soldier. I did 5.5 years active duty. I was deployed to Afghanistan, Operation Enduring Freedom. I was deployed to Afghanistan, there for about a 9-month deployment. While I was there, of course, we was in war with Afghanistan. That operation went on for 20 years, I believe. Thank goodness for Joe Biden for getting us out of that. It went on for far too long. But since it did go on for 20 years, there's a lot of people who can say and talk about the things that I'm going to talk about right now, because a lot of soldiers are over there. Like I said, the thing went on for 20 years. But when I was there from 2011 to 2012. And while I was there, there were a lot of Afghans that gave a lot of help and support to the mission. My base was joined, on the other side of my base, we shared a wall with the Afghan army. The Afghan army base was on the other side of our base, so like I said, we shared a wall. So the Afghan army, we actually did joint missions. I remember we did joint missions with the Afghan army. So they was fighting with us side by side in our convoy. All right. So that's one thing. The Afghan military, Afghan army. I believe some of those soldiers came over here when we entered the war, because of course the Taliban still has control of Afghanistan, which is another story all in itself. We went there to fight the Taliban, and in the end, the Taliban still has control of the country. But we're not going to get into that right now. The point is, so those are some of the people that came to the United States, people that fought in the Afghan military, that fought side by side with us. Also, as a soldier in Afghanistan, I spent a lot of time with translators, Afghan translators. They, they went on missions with us because, we don't speak the language, so we need our translators. But they went on missions with us. They helped us carry out missions. They helped us get Taliban, kill Taliban, interrogate Taliban. So I spent a lot of time with Afghan translators. I was served by Afghans in the cafeteria, the DFAC, the cafeteria where I was deployed. The Afghans was serving the food. So there was a lot of different capacities where the Afghans helped out the mission and was helping out over there. My understanding is that some of those guys, or some of the guys that came back, that we're talking, that the president now is talking about he wants to revet or wants to send back people. You know, of course, if they go back to Afghanistan now, having helped the United States with the war effort, and the Taliban's in control of Afghanistan now, of course, they're just going back to be executed. So I understand some of the people, and the reason that some of those people are in the country, or in our country now, because of the sacrifice and the effort and the help they gave to us while we were over there. Putting that all aside too, here's my thought process. The Afghani person, I think he had asylum. He was granted asylum by the Trump administration. They keep saying, but anyway, he got his asylum in 2025, but he's been in the country since, I think they said, 2021. He came in the country in 2021, and probably, you know, because he was helping, you know, he got in the country because he was helping us out. But I guess this guy went off the rails, and he did a horrible, horrible thing. I don't know. They haven't told us yet why he drove from the state of Washington to D.C. It was a long, hell of a long drive. What I can speak to is, I know from my time in the military, when I was in Afghanistan, actually, some of the people that they caught, some of our servers doing some bad stuff, or getting ready to plot something bad on us, because the Taliban had taken their wives or taken some family members, said, we're going to kill them unless you hurt these Americans. So sometimes that happens, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, the Taliban might find a relative, find a brother, find a sister, find a wife or something like that. We're going to kill this person unless you hurt some Americans. So some of that stuff did happen. I remember, as a matter of fact, in America, when I was at Fort Bliss in Texas, we had a soldier that was from Afghanistan. And this is like in 2011, 2012. So this is like during the time where we're fighting Afghanis. But yeah, we had and the dude, you know, he was cool. I was cool with him. He was cool. He, you know, he told me he was from Afghanistan. And like I said, he was a soldier. I guess he got citizenship and everything. I think, you know, people from other countries, if they join our army, we usually give them citizenship if they fight in the army with us. He had a similar situation. He got an email or a call or something like that from the Taliban or something like that. And we have your girlfriend, I believe it was. I think he had a fiance that was still living in Afghanistan. They were supposed to get married or whatever. The Taliban had her, and if you don't get out the army, we're going to hurt your girlfriend or hurt your fiance. And he actually, that became a big thing. He actually got out the army because of that. So you have some of those situations. I have no idea what happened with this DC shooter or this Afghani who did this terrible thing. I have no idea. You know, maybe he had a mental breakdown. You know, I don't know what his situation. You know, they got to tell us. They got to research that and tell us what's going on. But what I don't believe is right is painting with a broad brush. I don't believe this. What I don't like is, I don't like that this action by this individual is being accounted to the whole group of people. I don't like this whole, we're going to ban a whole nation because this one individual did something horrible. Another point I'll make is that in America, we have this thing called a prison. We have this thing called a jail. And the American prisons are filled with millions of Americans who do bad things. For example, people get shot every day in America. People get shot in the face every day in America. There's a lot of Americans. We have crime in America, and you know, when something bad happens to somebody, you usually go after that individual. It can't be, you know, we don't go after their family or their brother or sister. Or, for example, somebody shoots somebody tomorrow and they work for Verizon. So the next day we say, everybody who works for Verizon is a bad guy. We gotta harass them. We gotta revet them. We gotta watch them a little more carefully. We have to get everybody who works for Verizon has to come out the country. That would be ridiculous, right? That's not the way it's been done. That's not the way it's been done for years. Basically, accountability starts and ends with the person accountable. The person who this individual who shot and killed these soldiers, they need to get what they get. Held into the highest standard of the law. But that's where it should start and that's where it should end. You know what I mean?